The House of Representatives has voted to officially impeach Donald Trump on one article of impeachment regarding his incitement of insurrection. Now, unlike the first time that Donald Trump was impeached in 2019, today we saw 10 Republicans vote in favor of impeachment, which is a big deal. Now, this is a historical event, not only because of the fact that Donald Trump has been impeached 2 times, the first president to be impeached 2 times, but this is the most bipartisan impeachment, which is an interesting way to look at this, especially when you consider what happened last week with these insurrectionists rioting in the Capitol, and then you look at the high volume of Republicans who are still serving as apologists for Donald Trump and his incredibly violent rhetoric, which not only incited violence last week. Let's be clear, Donald Trump's rhetoric has incited violence in this country in so many different cases, beginning with the hate march in Charlottesville. You have the Tree of Life synagogue, you have the mass shooting in El Paso, you have Cesar Sayoc sending bombs to members of the media and Democratic politicians. Let's not pretend as if we don't know what's been going on in this country for the last 4 years. Donald Trump has been inciting violence, and this may be the first time that he's actually paying some consequences for it. But before I give you some more details on how this all went down yesterday, I wanted to get your thoughts, John.
Yeah, it's great that it is happening. It's going to be made a lot more great if there's anything that actually comes of it in terms of conviction and all of that. Just being impeached again is something. It sends a signal. The fact that it's the most bipartisan. I think people said he's now been impeached as much as all other presidents combined, which is historic. I think I'm still counting all the votes, but he might have as many members of his own party voting for it as like all of the others combined. I'm not sure about that one. That's big, but if that is where it ends, then I don't know how much more, deterrent power it has than the first impeachment, which didn't change much behavior. It's great to have the 10. Sorry, it looked like you were about to say something.
No, finish your thought because I do have a response to what you said.
Yeah, it's good to have the 10 crossed over so that we can say that this is an actual bipartisan thing. It's good to get them on the record, although they're on the record in like literally the last week of this whole Trump experience that we've had. You still had 95% of Republicans in the House saying, yeah, no, add up all those things Anna was saying and now add the incitement to the attack. And the attack is the single worst part of a multi-month effort to effectively end democratic elections for president in America. So it's the worst part of a much bigger issue. And 95% of Republicans in the House were like, no, that's totally cool. Or I think it's bad, but let's not do something crazy like impeaching him, that's the exact same thing as I think it's okay.
Right, exactly. I mean, most Republican lawmakers who are against impeachment are like, well, what he did was really bad. It was really bad. But I mean, like impeachment, does that really make any sense? He only has a week left in office. And so maybe we should do a censure. No, look, this isn't about removing Donald Trump from office. Clearly, he only has a week left. The 2 main points to take away from this impeachment is number 1, it's meant to serve as a deterrent so people understand that there are consequences for inciting violence the way that Donald Trump has been doing. And then number 2, it's an effort to prevent him from running for federal office again. Of course, there have been so many headlines regarding Trump's plans to run for president in 2024. If he is impeached and then also convicted in the Senate, he cannot do that. And so the update to this story is also the fact that Mitch McConnell, who we learned yesterday is actually in favor of these impeachment proceedings, this was reported by the New York Times, is not going to have the Senate reconvene in order to hear this trial, in order to either convict or exonerate Donald Trump. And at first I was irritated by that, but then I kind of stopped and thought about it. with Mitch McConnell and the majority of Republicans in the Senate, I just don't trust them to convict Donald Trump. So the trial is likely to happen when Joe Biden is already in office, when the Democrats have a slim majority in the Senate, and it's more likely that Donald Trump will be convicted for this article of impeachment. And I think that's actually a better outcome because, again, it helps to fulfill the objective of preventing this person from running for president again. So I think it's actually, whether Mitch McConnell meant it to be or not, a good move that would, more likely lead to Trump getting convicted of something that he's clearly guilty of.
Yeah. And I don't know. We were talking, JR and I were talking about Mitch McConnell and that thing about him secretly being pleased and behind the scenes. And I'm sure that, look, Mitch McConnell has never seemed like a person that was like, wearing a red hat at home or anything. Like, he's not a true believer in that way. He's a more old school Republican, and that means he's still awful, but he's awful in specific sort of policy based ways and judicial ways in terms of choosing judges. And so I get that he would want, if possible, to stop Trump from having even more control over the Republican Party going forward. It's not like if Trump is stopped from pursuing federal office, that's it for Trump. I was never super convinced that he was gonna seriously run in 2024 anyway. I think he might run, but there's barely gonna be anything left of him by then. He's still gonna be out there no matter what. You can ban him from Twitter and ban him from running for office. He's still going to exist. He's still an issue. And so I get that Mitch McConnell would want to throw up a few more barriers there. But I also, on the show this morning, before we found out about the fact that he's definitely punting until he's no longer in charge, he's not necessarily gonna stick his neck, all the way out of the shell so his head can be cut off. Like, he doesn't necessarily want to be the one who's gonna face all the ire. He would prefer that the Democrats do it if the end result is the same. So it's like, okay, good. You don't like Trump that much. It's not a profile in courage or anything like that. And so whatever credit we want to give him, I think it's necessarily, I think, quite limited.
Yeah, I give him no credit. Let's be clear. I give him zero credit. He has aided and abetted Donald Trump throughout his 4 years in office. So I'm just saying that the outcome, as a result of Mitch McConnell refusing to have the current Senate reconvene in order to have this trial, is either intentionally or unintentionally a good move for people who want this impeachment to fulfill the two objectives, to serve as a deterrent and to prevent Donald Trump from running for office again. I think that it serves as more of a deterrent if you have a Senate that convicts him as opposed to a Republican majority Senate that could potentially exonerate him. Remember, in the first impeachment, Donald Trump was impeached in the House and then he was exonerated in the Senate. And that sends all the wrong messages, right? It sends the message of, I was acquitted. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't found guilty. Like, it's that same feel. And I don't want that to happen in this case. Exactly. Yeah,
I agree.
So I think that today's news is important, and I am happy to see at least 10 Republican lawmakers vote in the right way. I believe we have a graphic. We should know who they are. Oh, we don't. Okay, so of course, Liz Cheney was one of the Republican lawmakers who was the most vociferous in supporting this impeachment effort, and of course, there are 9 others. I don't like the reputation rehab that's happening right now on cable news in response to Liz Cheney. It's like, oh, this is a profile in courage.
No, but I also want to. She's great.
I mean, she's obviously not the best, but not to get too sidetracked by that. I do also want to point out that Republican lawmakers are terrified of Trump's base. That's also a big part of this story, which is why so many of them are unwilling to go on the record to do the right thing, to hold him accountable for his actions.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.